Hello, this is Chris the Pocket Master, and I'm here to talk to you about turning 30. Woo! Here we go. So yeah, turning 30 is very symbolic to me, just because, I'm getting older, and, I know I will feel the same way entering my 40s, and come to think of it, turning 20 was pretty symbolic to me. And at the age of 20, I started feeling this urgency that I should get like a career and all this stuff, which now I do have, and I have a pretty good job that's taking good care of me. So at this age, I'm not feeling that same urgency, but I am feeling like society's trying to tell me to stop doing certain things. And that's kind of what I want to talk to y'all about, is being 30 and maintaining my art and my games, and the feeling of just enjoying them, because I do enjoy them no matter what society tells me. Before I begin, I just want to talk about my health. I'm maintaining myself pretty well. I try to eat correctly. However, I will be honest, I eat like crap. Just the other day I went to Jack in the Box, and this past whole week I I ate Taco Bell. I can't help it. But I am trying to improve in that. Also, I do work out every day, or I try to work out every day, and I'm pretty good about doing that. So I have, me working out has compensated me just like eating like crap, I guess. But health isn't what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about being an artist and a gamer at the age of 30. So I'm going to talk about art. And when I talk about art, I talk about music and art. So music is an art, and so is digital art. They're both arts. They're different, but they're both arts. I have a lot to say about being a musician, a digital artist, and a gamer at the age of 30. I would like to talk about my life as each person, but if I go and dive deep into all areas, I will never finish this video. So instead, I'm going to focus on one area, which is being a musician. And I will briefly talk about being a digital artist and a gamer. The reason I'm going to talk about being a musician instead of all the other areas is because I honestly feel that my experience picking up an instrument has not only shaped me as a musician, but it shaped me into becoming the person I am today. So before I talk about being a musician at my age, I would like to rewind and reflect on the past to when I was 17 years old. When I was 17, that's when I first started playing an instrument. I started playing the guitar and the bass guitar pretty much at the same time. And my drive back then was to learn just for the sake of learning. I had a goal. I wanted to get as good as Hide and Taiji on bass, because I thought they were really good. And I still do think they're like impressive musicians in terms of technical skills and songwriting skills. So that was my goal, and I had no rush to get as good as them right then and there. It wasn't until someone told me, you will never be that good. You will never be as good as me. Musicians at school would tell me this, that I would never be as good as them. They would always compare themselves to everybody. And so when they saw me playing a guitar or a bass guitar, they would say, you will never be as good as me. Right then and there, I'm like, well, I have a new drive, and it's to get better than you. So at the age of 17, going to 18, my drive was to get better than them. And I will say confidently that I got better than them at that age, because I was learning machine gun rhythms. I was learning X Japan songs when I first started, which you should not do, but I did, and I got better than them because they weren't able to do that. They weren't able to play Metallica songs or any progressive rock songs. They were just playing softer songs and saying, oh, I'm the best thing in the world. Whereas I was playing Silent Jealousy by X Japan, or Sandman by Metallica, or Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. So those songs were the songs I was learning, and they couldn't play them. So, I got faster than them. I learned the soft songs too. But yeah, that was my drive, and it got me better. Now, when I'm gonna fast forward it a little bit to my early 20s, and I hit a rut. I stopped learning new things, and I mean, I was pretty satisfied with X Japan and learning X Japan songs, and back then I learned quite a few X Japan songs, and I was satisfied with my technical skills and just everything I was playing. But at that age, I started to join bands. So I would join a band, and before I joined a band, I would have to audition, or they would want me to audition for a band, but I never did. Instead, I would upload covers on YouTube and say, hey, go watch my cover. I'm not going to audition for you. And if you want me in your band, then you have to have a good drummer. You know, that was my condition to joining any band. They had to have a good drummer, because I could not play with a karate drummer that could not keep time. I just could not. I would refuse. So they would hear me, and pretty much all the time they would say, yeah, join us. Or sometimes they would just, I guess, feel intimidated. But I mean, I don't blame them. I had an expectation before I joined a band. I just wouldn't join any band back then. But bands back then, they needed a bass player and they needed drummers, because for one, nobody wanted to play the bass because it was in the back. And if you were to record a bass back then, or not even back then, but if you were, I mean, I guess people couldn't hear the bass or they wouldn't listen for it, but when it came to a live show, you needed it. And nobody wanted to play drums because you had to carry all that shit around. It was just a lot of responsibility, which I completely understand that part. So yeah, I mean, I joined different bands back then, and my only lesson from that experience back then is this: don't join a band with people that think they're the greatest thing on the world or in the world, because those people, you just don't want to be around them. I had this guy who thought he was the best thing in the world. He was a guitar player, and he was, I'm not going to say this band's name because I think they still exist. So this guy can play the beginning of Welcome to the Jungle, and he thought he was the best thing in the world. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, he's not. I'm going to prove him wrong too. So I grabbed my guitar, and it just took me a day to learn that song on the guitar. And I go to him one day and I say, hey, look, I could play Welcome to the Jungle. So I play the beginning, the part he's always playing, and then I play the whole thing, guitar solo, everything. Now, of course, I play Slash's part, and he's like, what? Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to be an asshole? And I'm like, I'm just showing you that I could play it on the guitar, and I'm not the best guitar player. I'm not a guitar player, for one. I'm a bass player. But two, just because I could play that on the guitar doesn't make me the best guitarist in the world. Doesn't make you the best guitarist in the world. And so as a result, what do you think happens? He punches me, he kicks me out of the band. So, I mean, yeah, not a good experience, for sure. Now, I did have some positive experiences back then playing with other people, like close friends and my siblings. I have a bunch of stories about those times, but I will probably have to save those stories for another time. So, after all that negative experience, I start going on YouTube, and I just start learning songs for the sake of learning a song, So I get out of that rut. Unfortunately, it took a negative experience for me to get out of there, and just learning songs helped me get out of that rut. So I was learning songs, and I was looking at other people do covers, and I went on this one channel called Bird and Bush, and I was like, dude, your covers are really good. And he's like, oh yeah. And then he goes on my channel, and he's like, your covers are good. And then I go on another channel and say his covers are good. He goes back on mine, vice versa, etc., etc. So we all think our covers are good, and we decide to make a collaboration. We decide to do a cover of a song by Alice 9 called Tsubasa. And I have to say that cover alone beats all of those live band experiences that I've ever had, because I learned something from that song, and most importantly, I learned that I could communicate with other people around the world, interact with people around the world, and just create something awesome. And that's what I did with those channels. I communicated with people around the world and made something awesome. I mean, I had never thought I could do that. And to this day, I look back on it and I'm just like, wow, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe we did that. Sometimes we come back and we talk to one another and we're just like, man, I remember that. That was crazy. And we always talk about doing another one, but, life hits us and time just goes away from us, as we get older, especially. I'm going to fast forward it to my mid to late 20s. And that's the time where Phoenix Splash was born. But before Phoenix Splash was born, I was invited to this group of musicians to just jam with them. And Josh is the one who invited me. Josh is my little brother, and he pretty much runs this channel now. But before this channel was ran by him, it was ran by me, and all I did on here was just upload covers for local bands to see, to decide whether or not they wanted me in the band. So Josh invites me to this group to just jam with them. It's just a group of musicians, and I'm like, yeah, I have nothing better to do, so yeah, let's go. So I bring my bass. They needed a bass player. Surprise, surprise, because no one wanted to play bass. I was the only one playing bass, by the way. So they invite me, we jam, and they're like, oh wow, Josh, you should bring your brother by again. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. So on the car ride home, I talked to Josh and I'm like, man, you know who really stood out? Anthony. And that's our drummer right now. I'm like, he's really good. And not only is he good, he's a nice person, and he's just really easy to get along with. I'm not saying the others are jerks or anything like that. I don't know them personally, but Anthony, it was easy to talk to him. And for me, as an older musician, and based on those past experiences I had with other bands, personality is a huge deal. It's very important to get along with people if you want to play music with them. I've learned that. And so, we start talking, Josh and I and Anthony, we start hanging out more, and we decided to start a band. And right now, age 30, we're playing music we love. We play video game covers, we compose songs, and I personally I learned songs just for the sake of learning them, to learn new things, new techniques, just new things to incorporate in my songs. That's why I learned songs, to just increase my vocabulary or my technique. And that's what all musicians should do, is just always want to learn, never stop. Now, as an artist, I'm going to be brief about art, my digital art, because there's really not much to say about digital art in general. I do draw to escape from reality. I draw to distress, just like, music and games. I de-stress with art. It relaxes me, it calms me down. I did draw a comic book series called Dreams That Can Be Felt. I illustrated that, and Josh, he wrote it. My little brother and the owner of this channel wrote that comic book series, and I will say, it is a brilliant comic book series. And we also collaborated with Mikey Nunn, or Noon. I hope I'm saying that right, Mikey. I'm sorry if I do not. But he is the character designer for this comic book series. And the three of us worked together and we created something beautiful. So there's also another comic book series I am making. It's not finished. I mean, I've finished 3 volumes so far, but it has a lot of video game references and martial arts. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. I don't know if I'm going to release it, but, I'm just drawing that comic just for the sake of drawing and relaxing and just engaging my brain. like everything else I do, I play video games to de-stress and to just escape from reality, escape from all the stress that life has to bring you, you know, just like everyone else does. The reason why everyone else plays video games is just to distress. I find myself playing older video games like the Sega Dreamcast, SNES, Master System, you know, all the old school games. I don't really play newer consoles except the Nintendo Switch, like I do have back there. It's on waiting for me, but that's like the only new console I play. I don't play PS4 or PS5, Xbox One. I don't touch those, and my reason is this: because those games are incomplete. They're not finished, they're needing to be patched, and I'm just not gonna tolerate that. I like my games complete. I don't like them glitching up while I play them. I want them finished. All the old school games are finished. Dreamcast, Shenmue, those games have been tested religiously. Games today, not so much. They're on a time constraint and they release utter crap out there. I do game on the PC, but I don't game a lot on there. I play games that are meant for like single players. I don't like playing games online. I like games that will that I can go on an adventure in, like Metal Gear, the Phantom Pain. I love that game. It's like I'm in a different world. And Metal Gear Rising is another one I love playing. I know these are kind of older games, but they're new to me because I haven't really played them too much, and they're just exhilarating. I do game on my PS Vita because my PS Vita has all my retro games. I'm gonna say this right now, I hacked it. I installed Enzo and Kaku, all that good stuff on it, so I can play pretty much anything I want as far as PSP, PS Vita, SNES, you know, all the retro old school games you can think of can be played on my Vita now. But the exception of Dreamcast, can't really run that too well on there. But everything else I could run pretty smoothly. But I do, I play Ys 8 on there typically. I don't really play Ys 8 on the Nintendo Switch. I do have it on the Switch, but I just have it as a collectible in my collection. Yes, and of course right now I'm still playing Neo Geo and Neo Geo Pocket games. So those games will never go away as long as I live. I'm always going to keep playing them. Always going to play Shock Troopers, SBC Chaos, Micro Garou, KOF. All those games you can think of. Magician Lord, I could keep going with those. Never going to stop playing Neo Geo. And recently I have been collecting Neo Geo AES cartridges, which I think I'm going to stop now because it has gotten too expensive. Of course, when you hit a certain age, society tries to tell you to act a certain way, to behave a certain way, to do things a certain way. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do that. Like right now, I'm wearing these gloves and I bet you anything somebody has thought this. Someone has thought this before. I'm pretty sure. 100%. Why are you wearing these gloves, man? You think you're cool in the video? That's society trying to tell you to take these off. But you know what? I'm not going to take them off. You know why? Because I feel great with them. As crazy as that sounds, I feel really cool with it. I feel strong with these gloves. I feel like I can take on the world when I'm playing bass guitar. And I wear these while I play bass guitar. And people, when I used to play live and wear these, people would ask me, why are you wearing those? You know, I would get that a lot. Why are you wearing those? Who do you think you are? And I'm like, well, they help me. Mentally, they help me remember a song or make me feel like I can play the song perfectly, which I could with or without them, but they make me feel great. And I'm not going to take them off just because someone else says, well, you think you're cool with those gloves? You look so stupid, you know. As long as I think I look cool, as long as I think I'm feeling good with them, I'm going to wear them. Society's not going to tell me or dictate what I should or should not do. I'm here to make me happy, and this right here makes me happy. Society also asks me this: why are you making music? Why are you making a comic book? What's the point? What's the point of all of it? Where is it gonna get you? And my answer is this, and it's always this, to people that ask me that question. I'm like, I would rather create than sit on the couch for 10 hours watching a Netflix show. And most of the times, it would make them think. It would make them think, maybe I should create too. Because what you're saying makes sense. Creating music, engaging your brain in some way, that makes sense. And a lot of the times, the people that tell me that, they are people that are glued to that damn TV 24/7. I'm not saying Netflix is bad or anything. I like watching shows on Netflix. But, you know, there's a line that you can cross. And the line is binge watching. And that's not good for you. It's good to watch 2 episodes of Breaking Bad at once. That's okay. I've done that before. But if you're going to watch the whole series in one day, just stop. A lot of people do that. A lot of people in America do that. They just binge watch shows. They waste their free time doing that. And I just can't find myself to do that ever. But yeah, I'm not here to tell you what to do. If that's something you like doing, go for it. But if you're someone like me that strives to create, that wants to create, then create. So I know this video is kind of getting out of hand, but before I leave, I want to tell you this. If you're entering a symbolic age, let's say the age of 18, the age of 20, the age of 30, 40, 50, it doesn't matter what age you're entering, I want to tell you this. Do whatever the hell you want to do with your life. You only get one life. So just have fun with it. If you want to be a creator, create. If you want to express yourself in some way, whether it's by wearing something, going out in public, do it. Don't let society dictate how you should be, how you should act, how you should behave, who you should be with. You know, you should do what makes you happy. If you're at a symbolic age, like the age of 30, and you're thinking about picking up a guitar or something like that, it's not too late. And you can get good within 1 year. Within 1 year, I learned an X Japan song, Silent Jealousy. I learned that within 1 year. Of course, I had a motivation to learn it, but that's what you need. Just some kind of motivation, whether it's to impress somebody or to get, unfortunately, my motivation was to get better than somebody. Do whatever makes you happy. I mean, it's not too late to do anything. Be who you want to be. If you want to be a creator, be a creator. If you want to draw, draw. If you want to play music, do it. Alright, don't let society tell you that you can't. Because I'm here to tell you, you can. You probably don't know it, but you can. So with that being said, I'm Chris the Pocket Master of Phoenix Splash TV, and I'm signing off.